Hello, 2022 Institute attendees and friends. Can you believe it? We are here at the end. But we always save the best for last, right? So, before I turn over the podium to my friends at the Berkeley Lab who work in workforce development education, I thought I would just open up the mic and just hear a few quick reactions about the last 2 and 3/4 days thereabouts, or 4/5 days.
I have to say, Larry, that the presentations coming, especially from our friends at LBNL this year, have just been absolutely outstanding, as well as the questions from all of our participants. We have really gotten some great questions this year for our presenters as well. So thank you to everyone who has done either of those items.
I want to kind of underscore that. This is Ted Walensky, where the Institute generally likes to make a lot of use of what LBNL has to offer, and they have excelled again in providing us with good information, cutting edge information to take back to our students. And that's been incredible. So thank you.
I got to say, Paul's presentation kept the interest of one of our automotive faculty the whole time. He was enjoying it, so it was good, very good.
While we have Colette Flood here, one of the questions that came up, I forget now which context, but somebody was asking about connecting their students with the lab to build something. And Colette is going to talk for a few minutes about the internship programs that the national labs operate. Unfortunately, we're always out of sequence in terms of the application process. But some colleges have availed themselves of it, and maybe we could give Colette the floor for a few minutes to talk about it.
Go ahead, Colette. And I think many of you have met Colette at previous institutes. And she's accompanied by her colleague, Nakeiah Harrell, both in workforce development and education.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. Glad to be here once again. I'm so happy that you guys have enjoyed this event. It is an annual event, and I think that it is probably one of the best events at the lab. We obviously don't typically get to engage with a community college and faculty as yourself at the lab as often as we would like. So this is one of our cherished events that we participate in. So I just want to thank all of the partners that have given us the opportunity to participate in this. So you've heard about all this great stuff at the lab, you met all these people, there's all this great research. So how can you come to the lab and engage your students? We have my department. I'm the lab education director. We handle internships for the lab. We have a program for four-year institutions as well as community colleges. What we're going to talk about today are two of our programs, community college internship, and then also the visiting faculty program. And that is where faculty and students come to the lab and partner with mentors, our PIs, and work as a team on research. So we have a little bit of a presentation, and Nakeiah is actually going to man the presentation. So you want to get started? I'm not in control.
It's giving me some trouble. I'm trying to be in control. What's happening now? There it is.
Okay.
There we go.
So I'll take you through our little PowerPoint, and then at the end, we can address any specific questions. I'm going to start off, and then Nakeiah is going to get into the nuts and bolts. She is our internship manager. She's actually the POC for all of our internship programs. So I'm just going to start off and introduce everything. I really handle stewardship as the director, and Nakeiah is the one that really handles the nuts and bolts and manages all of the internship programs. So I'll just start it off. Again, my name is Colette Flood. I'm the Lab Education Director for Workforce Development Education. We have around 11 internship programs. We do workshops, seminars, and visits. We partner with our divisions and external partners to develop programs in order to prepare the next generation of scientists, engineers, technologists, and STEM professionals. Next. We have a suite of programs, and our target audiences are undergraduates, post-baccalaureates, and that's one thing that I always want to kind of shed light on. A lot of other internships, you must still be enrolled in school or you must be in graduate school. Where we offer programs, we're one of the few institutions that offer programs for post-baccalaureates or recent graduates. So a lot of our programs are a bridge program to graduate school. And also there are programs for faculty as well and graduate students. If you look in the chat, Julio Jaramillo, another one of our team members, he is putting in the links to our pages. Some of the, just to give you like a breadth of the work that we've done, and you guys have just already been exposed all day to all of the sciences and the research and everything that we're doing here at the lab. Any of these projects that you've learned about today, any of the engineers, PIs that you've engaged with, all of these are potential mentors, and these are all potential projects that you can work on. We really approach our internships and the projects organically and holistically. It's really adopting the team science approach that Dr. Lawrence really established, and we really approach our work in that same way. So we don't have a cookie cutter set of projects. We really encourage faculty like yourselves and potential applicants and candidates to reach out to our scientists and engineers directly and see if there's an opportunity to work on an existing project. But even better, if you have an idea, go to the PI and say, hey, if there isn't the opportunity to work on an existing project, is there the opportunity to work on this great idea that I have? And really come from a new collaborative approach about a project. So I think that's one of the things that's very unique and probably stands out among any of the opportunities that are out there today and probably across the lab complex. Because we're a multidisciplinary lab, you really do have the space and we really try to promote a climate where you can develop your own collaborative partnerships and research projects. So that is what I think is probably one of the best things about our experiences here is that you really can engage and work with the PI in a collaborative way around some research that really benefits you professionally and your students, and can hopefully that skill set that you develop can also be integrated in your curriculum in the future. So you guys have learned about all different kinds of stuff here, just some examples, studying what happens to rainwater in your neighborhood, learning how to create better sunscreens, building faster internet connections. You've been here for a few days. You have a clear idea of we're multidisciplinary and we do everything. So sky's the limit.
I had a quick question.
Yes.
Is it necessary to be in residence in Berkeley, or could a faculty member with their students engage with a PI in their home community?
So right now, all of our programs are virtual just because of everything that's going on with COVID. We're not allowed to travel. We're not allowed to gather. So all of our programs for this summer and until further notice will be virtual. So that will be a non-issue. Typically when we will be back to normal, this would really be on site where you are coming to the lab. So you would be, if you're across the US, you would be moving to Berkeley for the summer to do the work here on site. And ideally, that's what we want, right? We want hands-on here at the lab where you have access to the user facilities, where you're in a group collaborating with the research team. So the idea is that you're actually coming to the lab, but considering where we are in our current climate, we're handling it virtually. So in that respect, yes, you can do it in your own community, but that's not how it should work. That's not the way it's supposed to work. Did I answer your question?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay. Next slide, please. You're up, lady.
So the two programs we're going to discuss today is the CCI program, which is our community college program, which seeks to encourage community college students to enter technical careers relevant to the DOE mission by providing technical training experiences at a DOE laboratory. Selected students participate as interns appointed at one of these participating laboratories. They work on technologies or instrumentation projects or major research facilities supporting the DOE's mission under the guidance of the laboratory staff and engineers. There are certain eligibility criteria that you must meet to participate in these programs, such as you must be enrolled as a full-time student at a community college. You must have completed at least 6 credit hours in science, mathematics, engineering, or technology course areas. You must have a 3.0 grade point average. You must be 18 years of age, and you must be a US citizen or permanent resident to participate. Which is some of the things we just covered on this slide is some of the eligibility criteria. And then our VFP program is our visiting faculty program, where faculty professionals can come to the lab and collaborate with a scientist, and they can also bring 2 students along with them to work on the particular project that they have decided to work on for the summer. The summer term is 10 weeks. Typically this summer will be 9 weeks. We also offer fall and spring programs throughout the regular school term, which are 15 weeks for the fall and 16 weeks for the spring. And this again is eligibility requirements for VFP interns. They must be US citizens and permanent residents as well, must be full-time faculty members in areas of physics, chemistry, biology, non-medical, engineering, environmental sciences, geology or geosciences, mathematics, material sciences, or computer or computational sciences. We offer state-of-the-art facilities, dedicated scientists, and you. We have several beautiful buildings that you would be able to work in the perfect world that you would be able to come and work at. As of what Colette said previously, we are currently doing everything virtually until further notice, but these are some of the beautiful buildings that we offer at the lab. How do you apply? You should visit education.lbl.gov/internships, which will also be available in the chat for you to copy and paste into your browser and save to review. You can learn more about Berkeley Labs research. We have several links available where you can click on our areas of research to see all the areas that we cover, which is several. We also have information on our website that allows you how to show you how to reach out to researchers. A lot of this you can do on the front end, where you can make contact with researchers at the lab, look at the projects they're currently working on, and reach out to them directly so you can make yourself known to them in advance, so that once you apply, they can go in and locate you directly in the system and select you as their applicant to work with for that summer, which is what we highly encourage, because then you're ahead of the game. You're not just in a pool waiting for someone to find you. You're actually putting yourself out there in advance.
What's the deadline for applications?
Applications for this summer are due next week, January the 12th by 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
And so I think the scenario we'd be looking at is and since they're virtual, I would really suggest that anyone who was interested in one of the projects, or Marco, or someone else, reach out directly to the PI and figure out if you have a couple of students and yourself who can, and I know so many of our faculty work in the summer, or, you know, they're doing their industry thing. And if you can give that up or take a quarter off to do this, would be a great opportunity. And we would love to promote it and promote the findings or the research or if you're developing a lab application during the summer with your students, we would love to promote that through the network.
Yes, so for our programs, it's a full-time commitment, so you can't work really or take classes while you're participating because it's a full-time 40-hour-a-week commitment.
And there is compensation for both students and faculty, is that correct?
Yes, it is. So the students are paid during the summer, it's $9,000, which includes a $3,000 housing supplement. And the faculty members are paid $18,000 for the summer, which includes a $4,000 housing supplement.
And since we're virtual, do they still get those housing supplements?
Yes, all participants still receive the housing supplement regardless of us being on site or remote.
Okay.
I have a couple of questions. Number one, I know these internship programs have been in place for a while. I mean, occasionally, are there any extensions to the application deadlines?
No, it's a solid deadline.
Okay. And then the second, right, my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, is that when an instructor or student applies to one of these programs, they are actually applying simultaneously to internship opportunities at any or all of the other national labs too. Is that right?
Correct. It's one database for all the DOE laboratories, but when the applicant submits their application, they have the opportunity to select what their first, second, and so on choices are.
Okay. That means they may see something, say, at Oak Ridge National Lab or the National Renewable Energy Lab that may also be reflected in their choices.
Correct.
Okay.
They can select where they would like to go first, second, third.
What I would suggest, Larry, is that given that our faculty have been exposed to a wide range of research that's going on at Lawrence Berkeley, that having that connection with the PI, someone that you can communicate with, discuss the potential for the internship, I think that makes all the difference. And it can be a very high quality experience for you and your students.
For the visiting faculty program, you don't get to select your first or second lab choice. That really only applies to the community college internship. For the visiting faculty program, the application process requires that you co-develop a proposal with a Berkeley lab PI. So there's no first or second choice lab when it comes to the VFP program. It will be one lab that you're selecting. You would already have a PI that you would be collaborating with, and you and the LBNL PI would develop a proposal, and that would make up the LBNL PI, the faculty, and if the PI decides to bring up to 1 or 2 students, and then the PI and the faculty would determine the other research team members. But I just wanted to be clear that VFP is a little different than from our other programs, like the community college program. That's when it's one application and you can pick your first or second lab choice out of all 17 national labs. That's for the undergrads up to the graduate students. For the visiting faculty program, the requirement is that you are co-developing a proposal with a lab PI to work at that specific lab. You don't have to do Berkeley Lab. You guys can participate at any one of the 17 national labs that offer the visiting faculty program. And I'm here to say, if there is the opportunity for you to work with any of our other sister labs, please do. They have the same wealth of knowledge and opportunities there as well. And if that better fits your situation, your work-life balance, I mean, we think that Berkeley's the best, but you know, Brookhaven is a close second, you know. No, seriously.
No, except for that retuning project at PNNL, I think you're the most relevant lab for our faculty.
Music to my ears.
Hi, this is Gary Kloss. I'm a program manager, and I work with a number of the PIs that's in BTO, which is Marianne's division. And I just have to say that most of our interns come in the summer, and summer has become my favorite season because, you know, it's lots of people that are so enthusiastic and have lots of questions and are so excited. And it just makes everything so much more vivid, and so much, you know, this is such important work that's being done. And it just becomes even more urgent and relevant and heartfelt that everybody's pulling together to get these projects done. Thank you, interns. I haven't worked with a faculty team yet, but I would love to.
And the selling point for both of these programs is that they're fully funded by DOE. So it doesn't cost the division anything.
Yeah, and heading back to something from earlier, Nakeiah, would you like to speak about partnerships with schools or how that might go for people who might be interested?
Partnerships with schools?
Yeah, like someone had a question earlier before we started, I think.
What was the question? Let me see.
I think Julio's referring back to Bob Clark's question from one of the presentations early in the workshop about how he and his students could potentially participate with, I think it was the phase change material battery project.
I
Right.
think something like that would be fun.
So ideally, what Bob would do is reach out to the PI of that project very quickly, because he only has a week to do it. And I know Bob could do that, and develop a proposal for that. That would be really exciting, Bob.
That looked like a really cool
By the
project.
way, yeah, well, this, are you going to make this PowerPoint available to send it to us so that we can put it up in the resource page?
Can I give Kim some work, if you don't mind? I was going to ask if there would be an email that could direct us with this PowerPoint, and that not only we could give to our students, but I could work with our engineering department. So we got a pretty good school too, and I think it makes it easiest for other instructors too to let them know, and it's got to kind of be expedited just so that they can market this program to other areas of their college too.
Colette, are you okay with releasing this PowerPoint?
I don't care.
Okay. Kim, I will share this PowerPoint with you so you can forward it on.
Thank you.
And we do have a question. We do have a question here regarding any kind of research around passive house design and retrofitting. And is the lab working with the passive house network? This is more on residential energy efficiency.
We can definitely provide links for you to review what's actually being worked on at the lab so that you can look and see what we're offering currently.
It may be, Larry, that NREL would be the better option on that. I don't know.
Mhm.
I've not heard that LBNL is working on Passive House, which is somewhat controversial. Some people really endorse it. And if you're in Germany, of course, it's the thing. Here, as you know, it's a little bit of a mixed bag.
Are there any other questions?
Okay, well, maybe we can go back to our discussion with Robert and Ted and Larry. Thank you so
Yeah,
much,
absolutely.
Colette.
Thank you,
Nakeiah
Nakeiah and
and
Colette and
Julio.
Julio.
You're
Appreciate it.
welcome.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, here we are. And I think you all solved all of the teaching logistics and, policy issues in the last session, right?
That was the tip of the iceberg.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt.
Robert, do you want to pitch your workshop again?
I'd love to, Peter. So, as we've said before, this is our 10th year of the BEST Institute. And so, of course, we're also coming into our 10th summer building automation systems workshop. So hopefully we are going to be hosted again in Omaha. Sorry, I'm trying to pull up the flyer and share screen. One of those days with Zoom, let's say. Anyway, so our workshop will be May 31st through June 3rd. And we're going to be talking very specifically about some topics that we've talked a lot about today, or the more advanced versions that we've talked about today. And that is integration and interoperability. So getting systems, building automation systems to communicate within their own silos, so climate control systems, lighting controls, things like that, but also how we get those systems to communicate with each other. We're kind of back to that BACnet and Modbus and networking conversations that we've cropped up a couple of times. And that's where we are going to focus. However, we will also be looking at graphics, building graphic systems so operators can actually interface efficiently with a given control system. Also dealing with the alarming side, so that, the current theory of life is that we shouldn't have to look at a building to know that something's wrong with it. That building should tell us that there's something wrong, and that type of theory. Also looking at the histories and trend logs and how we set those up and how we implement those so that we can use those effectively to do some of the more advanced processes like fault detection and the other items that we talked about earlier today.
And I think this is an advanced BAS workshop, of course. If we're face-to-face, and our hope is to be face-to-face, and obviously it's a little unpredictable. If we can't be face-to-face, we'll have to come up with a scenario for doing it virtually.
That's right. And that's my nightmare.
Yeah. We also have a beginners BAS workshop that Brian Lovell is organizing, hopefully in that new lab that he's been building right there in the Atlanta metro area. Because as many of you realize, several years ago, we tried to combine a beginner's workshop with an advanced workshop. And what we found is that everybody wanted to attend all of it, and the beginners were lost for the second half, and the old timers enjoyed the review that the front end of the workshop provided and wished they had been there. So keep that in mind as well. And if you are kind of at square one with integrating BAS in or building it from scratch, the beginner session would be appropriate for you.
Absolutely right, Peter. And just for reference, we are not planning on running these two workshops concurrently. They are going to be scheduled at different times. At least that was Brian's inclination as of yesterday. So you may have the opportunity to only attend one or both, but both workshops will be limited as far as space. So as soon as we get those applications out and available or get them built, we will get them out to you.
Stuart Cooley has a very interesting question. Is there any effort to develop virtual reality based classes to future-proof Best Center offerings into the future? Anybody want to pick that up?
I'm kind of glad he mentioned that, because that was on my list of things to talk about in the last session. If we kind of ran out of things, we had talked about virtual reality type of training materials, and Sean Huberty had developed some stuff way back when. And there's other tools that people were picking up and we've talked about in past workshops. And I wanted to find out more about that. So please, somebody chime in and let's see what you got.
I can. So if everybody has a Daikin rep, Daikin, Goodman, any Goodman distribution dealer, find that rep. They're in charge of Daikin, not the wholesalers, like your supply houses. Find the Daikin rep, the actual Goodman distribution rep. And they have a program for educators, and they are giving them the VR software and a headset and Oculus with the Daikin stuff in it.
Also, Stuart, ALC has an excellent online tool called, I think it's Spec Builder. Is that right, Robert?
Yeah, Control Spec Builder.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Great for classroom use. There was
That's a fantastic tool that you can use in your classrooms. It's ctrlspecbuilder.com. We've talked about this in a number of best workshops. It really can be a very handy tool for designing specifications for a lab or bringing students into causing them to go through that design process. Really friendly to use tool as well.
It's kind of fun to have students go through the whole sequence development process to figure it out. Spend a couple weeks doing that, right? And then bring Control Spec Builder up after they submit their assignment and go, oh, by the way, you could do it this way, and watch their faces as they realize how much simpler it would have been.
What we found is that, and actually before BEST, we had several project grants from NSF, and one of our goals was to work with a company in partnership with Lawrence Berkeley Lab to develop kind of virtual tool that would have sensors and points and an operating hydronic system for virtual simulation, essentially. And during the course of that project, we realized just how expensive and challenging writing that software is. And I think we've seen that in other instances, even the project that Sean worked on. And so I think going to the private sector, letting them spend the big bucks to develop this kind of tool like Spec Builder, is a much better option. And they've got the deep pockets to do it. Once you get into software development for this field, trying to replicate a building system, it gets very, very challenging. And I speak from experience. Robert, does Contemporary or EasyIO offer anything along those lines that Spec Builder offers?
Yes, actually, both EasyIO and Contemporary Controls offer, and several other companies provide offline tools so that you can work on a virtual controller. I think Contemporary Controls is probably by far the most accessible right now, however. And if you go to their website and look under their controllers or under their programming software called SAE, Sedona Application Editor, if you download that package, it does include their virtual controller system. So it's just a simple install as long as you've got install rights on your computer. If you're an educational computer, just has to run on Windows, but it's a pretty light duty program and is really effective if you don't have a physical controller to work on.
And on that note, Robert, I noticed that Harper Tap Parmar from Contemporary Controls is on the line with our meeting here. I'm wondering if Harper Tap would like to say a few things about the offerings they might have along the virtual line.
Yeah, thank you for that, Larry. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
All right, yeah.
We can't see you though.
Yeah, my office is a mess, doing a couple of different things, listening to this in the background. So first of all, I want to say it was a really good conference. Everyone did a great job.
Thank you so much.
Yep. And then, yeah, we do offer the tool set. And then it's a free emulator that you can download.
Would you perhaps be able to, maybe put a link or two that people could use for reference?
Yeah, let me do that.
Okay.
And while he's doing that, I would love to hear any feedback that anyone wants to provide, some big takeaway from these sessions. Everyone is so shy.
Or tired.
Or tired.
These don't take as much energy out of me as the in-person ones do for some reason.
That's because it's only a virtual fire hose, Ted, not a real one.
Anyone have any comments they want to share? Oh, okay, Terrell.
Sure. So I'm the external evaluator for the Best Center grant. I'm not a technical person at all in this field. And yet I got a lot out of this institute. And there were at least 4 or 5 sessions that I thought had relevance to multiple ATE domains and disciplines. And not the least of which was this last one with the Berkeley Labs. So just want to say thank you. And our understanding of our new heat pump has grown greatly. My husband dropped by as the lecture was on and stayed to hear Eugene's talk. So it's been a very good good institute, and a lot of it kind of went over my head, but I could tell it was useful, and there's great and engagement with the chats. So I'm really glad I got to be here. Thank you.
Thanks, Terrell, for that feedback. Anyone else feeling particularly brave?
Well, speaking of Eugene, I didn't get any tears when he was describing heat pumps, so I think he needs to start working on his new book. He wrote a book, Psychrometrics Without the Tears. So that's the joke, Peter.
Okay.
I always enjoy when we get together. I think it's the best thing in the world to have communication and develop relationships with people that, you know, might be right next to you, that can help you, or you can pick up the phone and call, just like Jenny did. And we started working on that project together. So I wish we were all together so we could hang out and go have coffee after the workshop and enjoy the evening and hang out and have conversations of everything that we deal with. But, you know, it's still great to see everyone. As always, there's great presenters from absolutely incredible areas of building science, and you can't ask for more than that.
Yeah, thank you, Bob. Larry, do you have any announcements?
Any announcements? Well, yes, in fact, I do, right? Carol and I worked very, very hard on the survey for the event, right? And it has now been incorporated into the event website. If you go to the far right of the navigation menu, you know, the menu you see when you have logged into the event, right? You should be able then to access that survey and fill it out. We would love it and be very appreciative if you would take a few minutes to do it. It's not that hard. And, you know, it is kind of geared to different audiences. If you're an educator, you will answer a certain set of questions. If you're from industry, another set, or if you're a student, and we have had some students, you get your own set of questions. So this is really important feedback for us, especially, you know, doing something like this virtually, right? This is our second, or I guess if you want to include also the BAS workshop, our third virtual event. But this is significantly different from the BAS workshop we had earlier. So please take some time to do it. I would urge you to do it sooner than later while the impressions are still fresh in your mind.
And maybe Kim, could you send out a reminder to all the attendees to go in and fill that out? I think this site will be active for what, 30 days or longer? 30 days at least? At least. And all of the videos are accessible, and most of the PowerPoints are available as well.
Well, this is Ellen. Will you send attendees an email when the website shuts down and give us a link to where the presentations and the talks will be?
Absolutely.
We can do that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Great resources.
And I see that, Larry, I see that Jean has joined us. You've got a lot of high praise for your presentation, Mr. Silverstein.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And for any of you who might be attending HVAC Excellence, you'll get to see Eugene there again. Eugene, do you want to say a few things about the upcoming March event?
Oh yeah, that would be great. I will make myself visible for a second. But yeah, so our event going forward for this year is going to be a hybrid event. So we have our live sessions scheduled for March 21st to the 23rd. And then once you return home, the learning will continue as we will be releasing new sessions each month, starting April 1st through July. And those will be pre-recorded sessions to continue. So yeah, so we're looking to a great face-to-face conference. We haven't had one in a couple of years, as you know, we're all very eager to get back to to shaking hands and rubbing elbows, or at least fist pumping. But yeah, no, it's a great event. We have over 70 live sessions lined up, and like I said, the learning will continue once we all return home. So we're really excited, and thanks for the opportunity to talk about the conference a little bit. And thanks to the Best Center for putting together another great event, and thanks for giving me the opportunity to present yesterday. It was great. Thank you.
And one thing I wanted to mention, Larry, that we are going to be starting item writing for the national certification for high performance building operations technicians or technical professionals. If you are interested in being part of that test writing group, and Bob, I know you already are, and maybe Robert and Ted, certainly, if you are interested, reach out to Larry, let him know. And there is going to be a modest stipend involved for that work. It's going to cover the gamut of high performance building operations and the knowledge and skills involved. So hopefully some of you can participate in that. Just let Larry know that you're interested. Thank you.
Yeah, and again, I'm urging, as you've heard before, that you take a few minutes out to go visit the booths in the expo hall, because there are a number of exceptional downloads and links available. And you'll see our three sponsors there in the middle: BOC, Contemporary Controls, and HVAC Excellence. And I'll go ahead and use this as an opportunity to thank them profusely again for their second year of support for this event. And then we've got the Berkeley Lab on the far right, front row, Best Center, far left. In the middle, we have the Create Center going from the left. And then Metropolitan, Community College, the California Institute for Energy Environment, where we are now, Best Center that is, Milwaukee Area Technical College, and then Mentor Connect, which you've heard previously for that NSF grant support. And then some of the colleges in our network here are represented. Some you heard from more recently during our VAV webinar, and others have been, or rather are currently NSF grant recipients. And then at the top end, we've got a couple of associations. The Association Controls Professionals, Brian Lovell's group. Yeah, a number of very handy PDF downloads there. A video also about BAS and why they are involved. And then we have the Association of Facilities Engineering. If you're not aware of it, they offer a few different certifications. And I have heard a handful of you express interest in learning more about the certifications. And of course, Best Center, as you heard from Peter, we're working on our HPBOP credential. And, it's always good to get feedback and thoughts from you about, what are the skills and knowledge that really will make for a high performance building operator.
I think we heard a number of discussions in the past 3 days that only underscored that importance.
Connie, were you able to find that link or for the survey?
Yeah, it took a couple of refreshes, but it came through.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I should say that the knowledge and skills, which we're going to be for high performance building operations professional, technical professional, that is, we will be pushing out some type of summary of those knowledge and skills. And those were validated nationally. Every part of the country, people working in industry looked at them and validated them. So they're highly credible. The scheme committee that's been working on the national certification is a national representing all regions of the United States. Some really excellent people on that in that group. So this effort has a lot of credibility, and based upon everything I heard and saw in the last 3 days, we really need this certification. And Bob and Ted can speak to that as well.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Just really drove it home.
There's a lot of work to be done, and there's a lot of different ways to probably do it. And we still haven't figured out how to get the community colleges together yet to make it happen, because it's really hard to start a program. But there are some ideas, and the future is coming.
Yeah.
I don't think we'd stop it.
Right, Bob will be there leading the charge.
Cool.
Oh, reminds me, Larry, that just for that, you get a America.
Yeah.
Well, I want to really, really thank Laura, a great moderating.
Agreed.
And
Agreed.
Ellen, for your back of the house operations.
Thank you.
A huge thank you to Kim.
Yes.
Can you show yourself, Kim? Briefly.
She's the Institute technician.
Seriously, did a fantastic job. Couldn't
Yeah,
have functioned
nice.
without her.
Thank you so much, Kim.
Thank you, guys.
Oh, you're not going to, there we go. That's right. Take a bow. Oh.
And thank you, Larry, and thank you, Robert and Ted.
Thank you, Peter, for all your leadership on this.
Bravo, good job.
Yeah.
Another year well done.
All right. And also, if you don't mind, I'd like to share my screen. You know, I mentioned at the start that this is Best Center's 10th anniversary. So I thought I would just share. This.
Wow.
If you can all see that, that was our very first workshop at Georgia Piedmont Technical College. Right? BAS #1. What a motley crew. Especially the guy in front and center, Nick Curicapetti, for anybody who might remember him. He was the chair of the Environmental Control Technology Department at Laney College.
Brings back memories.
Yeah. And as you can see, we all had a lot more hair back then.
Speak for yourself.
I was going to say.
Right. And then our fearless event organizer, Brian Lovell, who was the model for the Thinking Man bronze statue that you all have probably seen numerous times. Anyway, just a little trip down memory lane.
Do you have any other memory lane to show?
I'm going to save them for the course of the year.
Okay.
Right. Some may be more embarrassing than others, but there you have it. I decided to do the G-rated version today.
Well, Bob Clark in that little bow tie is priceless.
I should have brought mine out.
I'm going snowmobiling now, you guys.
All right.
There you go.
All right. And, you know, I'm looking at the chat. We do have a comment from Alice LaPierre, our friend at City of Berkeley. And she is reminding us about passive house design and passive house standards. And to answer your question, Alice, can we and our partners work with the Passive House network? You know, that is, I think, definitely an area that we began to explore with the Best Center building at Laney College. And that is certainly, I think, you know, a place to begin. I mean, working with Passive House Network. So, you know, we'll explore that. And if you have any specific contacts you'd like to recommend, I think that might be helpful.
Well, I would suggest for Alice that Alice reach out to Carl Seelbach at Laney College. Laney built a passive house standard house in East Oakland, and it built it to the standard. It's more of a construction. In this case, it was the carpentry department that led that effort. So that's more where we see application of passive house standard is in the carpentry or construction area. But it's something that we'll keep in mind. And I think the getting that final hurdle of certification for Passive House is very difficult. I don't think we ever got there with the Best Center building at Laney. There was a certain lack of, well, I'll just call it follow through at the end of the project. And maybe it was overly ambitious to try to attain to that standard. But, and Larry can elaborate on that much more than I. But certainly the carpentry department, Carl Seelbach, he would be a good contact in the East Bay there. And he's actually gone to Ireland, been trained on Passive House, understands the standard very well, and is definitely very interested in that and could perhaps work with you.
Yeah, and thank you, Kim, for putting Carl's email address in the chat. All right, are there any other announcements from any of you out there? Any updates about your programs that you'd like to offer? Maybe ones they don't have to be necessarily related to BAS. Or if you have any thoughts about the event itself. You know, one thing I will say, I mean, while the entire event was certainly chock full of information, I particularly enjoyed the panel discussions. And I don't know how many of you attended the one with Carla Santa Maria and, you know, the energy managers, but it was really very encouraging to hear about their success stories. Even small successes add up and can lead to bigger projects and improvements. That was kind of my takeaway, especially hearing Kenny Seaton talk about his campus at CSU Domingo Hills.
Just a quick note that we did get that link put in the chat for the Contemporary Controls virtual tools.
Cool.
So I think unless anyone has any further comments, or it's a lot to digest. I know I'm going to go back and look at those videos and look at the PowerPoints. Should we wrap up, Larry?
I think so, Peter.
Okay.
We'll call it a day and then some.
And thank you, Terrell, for staying with us through all this. And thank you again, Laura. And Kim, wow, we couldn't have done it without you.
And one thing I noticed about this time with the Virtual Institute, it seemed so much simpler than last run through. Not that last run through was bad at all, but it just seemed like there was a lot less that we had to deal with. And that was probably because of Kim and others in the background. So,
yeah.
This was my first time being a part of BEST, and it was really a great experience. It seemed seamless front to back. So I credit your team 100%. So thank you so much.
I'm going to underscore what other people said, Laura. You did a great job of narrating or moderating different sessions. It was good. Thank you.
Thank you. That's great to hear.
Yeah, amen to that. Yeah, I really want to applaud the entire Berkeley Lab team for, I mean, really stepping up to the plate to hit home runs. You know, last year and this year, right? Having to turn this into a virtual event was no mean feat. So, you know, again, many thanks to all the scientists, Marianne, and I'm sure many unsung heroes, including those who work at the lab who attended our event purely as observers.
Larry, we all took a vote and we agreed that you have to buy Kim a cheesecake, whatever kind she wants. So, you know.
Well, I think she's expecting more than cheesecake.
I love cheesecake. That's like my favorite
Okay.
kind of cake.
Well, just don't let your dog eat it. That's all, please.
See how he's trying to defend against it? That's his favorite thing in the world, Kim. That's it. Yep, give it up, Larry. Get the cheesecake.
Yeah. Yeah, that passion fruit cheesecake with a thin layer of chocolate on top. There you go.
All right.
All right. Everybody take care of yourselves. Please stay safe.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.